Welcome to another edition of The Life of an Entrepreneur, What Keeps You Up at Night. Joining us today is Shauna Keene from the Lace Boutique. Shauna, welcome, and tell us a little bit about Lace Boutique.
Well, hi, it's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. Lace Boutique is a women's clothing kind of vision that started in my living room with a fashion show. Many years ago. I say many, but it's coming up on 6. So that feels a lot's happened in 6 years. And I just was looking for brands and clothes and pieces that fit real women. And a lot of things, I wasn't a plus size at the time. So a lot of things at the mall didn't fit me because I was at the higher range of sizing. So that was kind of how things started. And then they've really snowballed from there.
As somebody who has been any size between 10 and 18, thank you for creating this opportunity. And so why did you decide to become an entrepreneur, though? I mean, why did you decide to open a storefront and go into business for yourself?
Well, my background is ultimately in teaching, and that kind of morphed to direct sales when there was a shortage of teachers, which now we're not there. A few years back, there was a shortage of teaching positions. So I sought out to do direct sales for something fun. And I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed helping people instead of feeling like I was selling. So that really lit a fire in me. And so originally when I started the business, I was doing pop-ups and events, because that was what my direct sales career, that's what I knew. So I was taking racks of clothes to community fairs and centers. And currently our most recent storefront, we're in Lucan now, and Lucan used to have a bacon fest. So I've done that event with my tent full of clothes years ago. But then the need I have 3 kids and a busy family life, and the need for that consistency of a place where it was turnkey, that people could just come to me regularly. That was where the storefront kind of came from. We're in our 2nd location now. Now, I don't mean 2 at the same time. We had a previous one in Ilderton, which was fabulous. We did our own fashion shows and events. So we had a big hall, and then COVID kind of happened and things shuffled. And then we ended up going online just to kind of get out of a rent space and just kind of adapt. And then it came time for us to have a storefront again. So now we are here in Lucan. We closed Ilderton, and now we are here in Lucan. So it's nice to be open again.
I think it's really interesting to shift from that direct sales, multi-level marketing model, which is kind of like selling the dream, right? You're trying to always get other people involved. So you're kind of relying on bringing other people onto the team. Whereas this, being an entrepreneur, you're only really working for yourself, and what you put in is what you get. What have you learned from that?
Well, I did things differently. I built my business very differently because I don't believe that one type of program, we'll say, is for everyone. So when I had my previous direct sales career, I didn't, and I did make it a career. It was very important to me to run my own business with integrity and to do my own business as well as mentor my team, where the teaching background came in handily. But I wasn't focused on recruiting at all. So I was focused on if it was right for you and seemed like something you wanted and you wanted to chat with me about it, great. But I didn't really promote that aspect. So to me, it's transitioned actually seamlessly to this, because now it's just a different product that I feel people need with the clothes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, definitely. I have worked for a multi-level marketing company at one time. So I find it really interesting and admirable, inspirational to transition into, starting your own thing. I think it's really admirable. Were there people that doubted you? Were there people that doubted you when you had your idea?
Well, I feel like it's that risk, right? It's something new. Is it going to work? My husband is extremely supportive. So, we're chatting with some family, and of course, even the people closest to you, not everyone's going to say, wow, that sounds fantastic. So there were definitely a few people saying, "Oh, are you sure you want to invest that money? What if it doesn't work?" And I don't think like that. So I think, well, why wouldn't it work? So yeah, we just kind of propelled through, and it is really neat to see where things can go and where they've come over the years too.
What have you found some of your biggest challenges?
Definitely over the past few years, managing finances, especially as things have shifted and price increases and the rest of that. But overall, like the flip side of that has been, no matter how challenging things have gotten, having that support of a loyal customer base. When we made the decision to close our doors in our previous location, that was a huge deal. And we made that decision after Christmas of 2020. So we made it through 2020, and just knowing that, you know what, we have to make a change because I have to save the business. That was my goal, to save the business by cutting costs with having the storefront. And I fought having an online business for many years because I firmly believe in the ability to touch and feel and try on. But now customers have adapted to knowing that we have a great return policy. So regardless of the challenges along the way, that supportive fan base and customer base that's kind of stayed with us and is continuing to grow, that's been the biggest offset to the challenges and still is. I'm very grateful.
Did you have any particular challenges as a woman entrepreneur and operating your business in a rural community? So a rural woman entrepreneur.
I feel I'm tempted to say no. And the only reason I say no is because I did seek out some help. That Small Business Help Center has been a wealth of resources along the way. So I haven't really felt alone. I haven't felt like a lot of doors were closed to me, but I'm a pusher. So for example, when we met with the previous owners for our last space, they weren't sure how it was going to work. The space hadn't been used for that before. It was a multi-purpose building. And long story short, like I just want to keep chatting with you until we can figure something out. And if it's a no, not right now, maybe it's a no for right now, but maybe that transitions to something yes in the future. So I see where you're coming from, but I don't feel that there have been a lot of negatives thus far. Now, transitioning from one rural community of Ilderton, which is a little bit closer to London, now to Lucan, they're both booming communities in very different ways. So I haven't found a drop in business per se. And people are very supportive. Especially because I'm female. That's what I've found. And maybe just the non-supporters are not vocal, and that's okay.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. That's really good. That the support is a good thing. Who has inspired you?
Ooh, that's a really good one. You know what? When I was younger, I worked a few Boxing Day sales at Sharon's of Hyde Park. So I'm not sure if you know who Sharon is, but she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she's just, in my opinion, a fashion entrepreneur icon. And I had the pleasure of bumping into her at one of the wholesale buying shows that retailers go to. And it was so awesome to see her. And I got to tell her what I was doing. And our businesses are very, very different. We don't carry high-end clothing like she does, but it was just so awesome to see her and to feel her support too.
Yeah.
I'm totally blanking on her name, but she's a wonderful woman.
Oh, no, I'm not, like, I'm familiar with the store, but not the person. Like I've heard of the store, but not the owner. So that's interesting.
I want petite ball there.
I wonder if fashion is a unique industry to be in a rural community. And I ask that because brands like Sharon's of Hyde Park, which, she became a go-to place for certain clientele. You always have to try to guess every season what your customers are going to want and who your customers are going to be. You have your regulars. I think people don't realize how much guessing and data collecting and all of that sort of stuff goes into season after season for retail and specifically fashion.
Right. Right. There are a lot of risks that you have to take risks, because there will be things that I think, oh my gosh, this idea did so well last year. We are going to do something very similar that a brand has released. We'll do it again. The fit was great. Yes, there's a few tweaks, but we'll do it again. And then it doesn't fly. And then there will be things that I think, oh, I'm only going to bring in a few of these. I'm not really sure if this is my client. And then they fly off the shelves and you have to order more. So there's a lot of risks, and sometimes it's just trial and error.
I think that you have to be able to embrace risk to be an entrepreneur. Would you agree?
100%. I would say most of my job is trying things out and seeing if it's going to work. And that risk, you can't be scared of the risk, or it doesn't work.
Well, speaking of being scared, what are the things that keep you up at night? Like what do you're getting ready to go to bed, the kids are down and you're getting ready to actually lie down and go to sleep. What are the things that you're thinking about, that are keeping you up, and not necessarily your business, maybe things in the world, but what are the things that are keeping you awake at night?
I definitely think I'm at a stage where I'm in my mid-40s. My parents are aging. And my kids are, between 8 and 13. So we're on the cusp of high school next year. And it's just, I'm an only child. So there's a lot of change, and there's a lot of things on me. So it's that balance of business and family and some friends in there. And it's just how am I going to balance it for tomorrow? That's what I think about. How am I going to connect with, my parents? How am I going to connect with my mother-in-law? How am I going to connect with my kids? Because all 3 of my children play sports. They play hockey in the winter. So wow. We're on the go a lot, and there isn't a lot of downtime. So I think about our scheduling and fitting everything in. And of course, there's a working to-do list for work that has to happen at night as well. So it's just the balance that keeps me up.
Well, and I think that is something that every woman entrepreneur struggles with, because, and it's not to say men don't, but we have the bulk often responsibility of child rearing, or at least a lot of it falls on our shoulders. And I can see how that would be, it's challenging for every female entrepreneur, I would say. What do you wish someone would have told you before you went into business for yourself?
I wish I had known more about actual business strategy. I am a dreamer. I'm a doer. I want to jump in with all my feet and hands and let's get to it. And we'll worry about the financial aspect, not full stop, but I want to think with my heart, not necessarily the budget. And, that's gotten me pretty far, but you can't last like that forever. So I wish early on I knew more about actual business strategy. I've learned a lot, but I mean, maybe I should have studied business in university. Right? When I was there, I probably should have studied that, but I didn't know. That wasn't where my heart was at the time. So
any other pearls of wisdom for some budding rural entrepreneurs that might be watching?
I think the biggest thing is just, if you have an idea and your heart is really, really in it, I mean, you have nothing to lose if you try. At the end of the day, if you don't try, you'll never know. And that's the big thing for me, is I'm so grateful that I tried.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
It's been really nice chatting with you today. And I really love your glasses. They frame your face really well. That's my ADD brain's been scrolling around about that the whole time we've been chatting.
Oh. Well, thank you so much. It's lovely talking to you. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.